Good day, everybody. We start in 40 minutes. Shui Wang, do you have a question? Oh, Metian, how you doing? Shui Wang. You have your hand up there. You have to unmute and talk, okay? Oh, I'm trying to promote you. Yeah, I'm trying to, oh, okay. You're trying to get in the panel. I see what you mean. Okay, I'm trying to get you in. I'm doing what I can. Usually you get in pretty good, right? Can you text me? If you don't want to talk, just text me in the chat. There's a chat feature here. I see you raise your hand. I'm trying to promote you. Maybe if you reboot, come back in. It seems to work okay when you do it that way. I don't know if you did it a couple of weeks ago or 2 weeks ago we had a broadcast. Okay, do you have a chat? I'm going to check your chat. There's a chat option here. Oh, I think, is it working now? Okay, I see your hand up. I'm trying to promote you. We need to communicate somehow. You either talk to me or chat, because this is not going anywhere. Okay, I'll be back.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Okay. Are you from Metian? Yeah, let me get out. Okay. Yes, hi. Are you from Metian? Can you hear me? I'm trying to get you in. I'm trying to promote you to be a panelist. Is that while your hand, oh, good, you got in. Okay, great. You got in. Are you happy now? I'm happy. Welcome, Juha.
Ja. Nyt se vasta kuulee.
How to do? I tried to share my screen. Can you hear me, John?
Yeah, Juha, how you doing?
I'm struggling with Zoom because this is first time I'm doing myself in China.
Okay.
Q1.
You want to test your screen share?
Can I? How to
Yeah.
do?
Yeah, you can do it now.
How to do?
Okay.
Where is the screen sharing? Chat?
We got lots of time.
Yeah, but tell me how to share the screen.
Okay, at the bottom of the screen, there's a share screen option. Do you see that? Share screen. When you go to the bottom of the Zoom menu, it says
Se tarkoittaa varmasti, missä oli tässä.
at the bottom of the Zoom, there's a chat, polls, raise hand, and there's a share screen.
But there's a raised hand, question answers, but not share screen.
There's no share screen. Well, okay.
Se on myös.
All right, now,
Hey John.
there's no share screen, huh?
No, we cannot see here.
Yeah,
I
John.
cannot see it there. You have a Zoom, right? Obviously.
Yeah, the address,
the-
and I have
yeah.
my lecture here.
Yeah. We'll get it. We'll get it. Okay, you have the PowerPoint there?
Joo, mutta siis se on varmaan siitä, että
Okay, well, why don't you open the PowerPoint, okay, in another window, open the PowerPoint.
But I don't see where is the share the screen command.
What do you
Where-
see what do you see at the bottom?
Mute, chat, raise hand, question and answers.
Oh, wow, huh, that's, well, I tell you, what, you need to download another copy of Zoom, okay?
Okay, I close this one. I close this one.
Oh, so this is, that's not your computer, Juha?
This is my computer, new computer.
Okay, you need to download Zoom again.
If you send by email,
Okay, do you know how to delete a program? Do you know how to delete it?
and leave webinar.
Sun pitäisi ladata tää
No,
sovellus.
no, you need to erase your Zoom. You understand me, Juha?
Yeah, please help me now. Shall I close this now?
Sit sä et pysty enää
Yeah,
puhumaan.
you need to change your Zoom. You need to erase the Zoom you have and download another copy.
Zoom is coming in the Zoom is coming in the email. This is from your email.
Okay, I'll check my email. Okay.
Siis se on todennäköisesti siitä, että kun toi niinku järjestää.
Oh, okay, I see. New computer, okay. Yeah, don't worry, we'll get it, Juha. Okay, no problem. Z1, are you there? Is that who is helping you, Juha? Uh-oh, he's gone. Oh, boy. Okay, now, okay, we're communicating. Okay, Juha. Okay. Okay, Juha, do you hear me?
I can hear you, but I don't find where the share the screen command is.
Okay, I'll tell you what, Juha, can you email me your PowerPoint?
Joo,
And,
joo,
and
joo.
I'll screen share it and you
Yeah.
just need to tell me next,
Yeah.
next.
Painoiko sillä?
Mistä mä pain? Katos.
Do you have videos on your PowerPoint?
Tuosta olisit päässyt siihen. Tuosta äskeisestä tuosta.
No, how to join now? Joo. I
Okay,
can send my
PowerPoint as an attachment. Send it as an attachment to your PowerPoint. Okay. Okay, to your email. The email I sent you from Hotmail, return the email with your PowerPoint. Okay. Wanley, how you doing?
Hi, good. Yeah.
We're just trying to set up Juha's transfer of the files.
Thank you.
He's got a new computer.
Okay. You mean you
Yeah.
I have my lecture here. Like I don't have any command share screen here.
Oh,
Okay, can you send me the PowerPoint to my email account?
That's a big one. Big one.
Let's try it. Let's try it.
so are you in Joe or
This one.
Missä sulla on se esitys?
You understand, Wanley, right? We need to send the big file.
Where to send?
Okay, try Hotmail.
This is a big file. This is
I know, but
100.
try it. Let's see if it works.
Where to send?
Avaa se.
never mind?
Saat mene siihen. Sitten niin kuin muokkaat sen.
Now it's open here.
Sä pystyt täältä.
Share.
Is it downloading, Juha?
Niin. Sitten tähän kirjoitat tuon tyypin sähköpostin. Tai sitten voit myös tästä kopioida linkin ja laittaa sen kumpi vaan. Tuosta kopio. Sitten sulla on se. Ja se saat lähettää tuon vaikka viestinä. Tai ihan missä vaan. Tuon linkin. Sitten kun sä painat.
Miten mä painan?
Se on nyt siinä.
Is it sending Hotmail, Juha? Is it sending?
I think.
Ei, mutta nyt sun pitää lähettää tuo linkki sille.
How to send?
So you think it's sending it?
Se on paljon helpompi sillä. Paina tuossa Xää. Paina tuosta ja share. Ja nyt sä kirjoitat tähän sen sähköpostiin. Sitten se lähettää sen sille sähköpostiin vaan. Sinä vaan valita.
John.
说的视频开始的我，你现在是一个什么样的状态？目前我们预算呢，大家的预算已经基本上快做完了。对，已经开始做了，已经有的已经出份结果了。对。
Sähköpostissa ei voi olla väliä.
Mitä?
Se on joko yhteen tai siinä on piste tai jotain. Siinä ei voi olla
What
väliä.
is your email address, John?
You just need to return the message I sent you on the Hotmail. I got a message from you on my Hotmail. You just return that with the file, the PowerPoint. Okay?
Yeah.
Juha, who was with you? Who was with you?
My grandson is with me.
Oh, okay. I thought he speaks Chinese. No. Okay.
No, no Chinese.
Oh,
No
okay.
Chinese.
Okay. Does he say the attachment was able to be sent on Hotmail? Did you try to attach the PowerPoint to the Hotmail?
Not yet.
Not yet?
No, mä voin näyttää.
Okay.
Sulla on sähköposti.
Se on tuolla. iCloud mail. Yeah. John Bennett.
Okay, I'll send you another one. I'm going to send you another email.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to send you an email right now.
I have one of you.
Okay. I just sent you one.
我说一下这个客户三。
This is there.
Okay, did you get the email?
课题三呢有那个偏大生，然后我们理工来完成这个事情，然后这是研究的内容。
Did you get the email? I just sent-
Yes, we have two of you.
Okay, when you reply, attach the PowerPoint. Reply to that email and attach the PowerPoint.
Attach this one. Yeah.
I'm responding with the link. Is that okay?
We have to attach my lecture there.
Yes, the PowerPoint. Attach.
No tää on linkki siihen. Kun se painaa tätä, niin sitten tää aukeaa.
第一个呢就是地球的第一部分，地球这个。
Se on ton näköinen, jos toi on niinku se helpoin tapa. Okay, I sent it to you.
这个提供上面一个参考图片，然后第二个研究内容呢就是刚才说的这个比例的技术。
Do you see the attachment? Did you attach the file, Juha?
Yes.
第三个呢就是
We tried.
There's the link.
学的基本的理论。
Response.
Is it loading? Is it loading? Okay.
我们做了。
Yeah, it's sent already.
Oh, you have sent it?
Yeah.
Okay, let me check. Oh, that would be great.
这也说一下，就是这个今天呢。
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have sent it.
Koetko sä painat tätä?
今天呢就有 FP。
Mitä sä aukeat? Joo.
这个针能穿进去。 接下来这个过程呢，需要医生进入这个核磁房，把这个针里的这个芯儿
OK，
完后，然后把这个电极再放上，把电极捅到这个。
I think I have it, Juha.
You have it?
I think so. Yeah. Hold on. It's not.
What is the lecture name?
Wait. It's not. Let me see if it's downloading. Okay.
也符合医生这个操作要求，没有太离谱的地方。模拟手术实验呢，这个有可能不加了。最后呢，我们基于前面的研究的4个内容，组成了机器人整体系统，这个避针。接下来呢，这个整个这个 还有这个整个跟项目的一个关系。其中呢，这个驱动单元，左上角这个驱动单元，这是课题2就，然后入路规划应该是课题6支撑，驱动定义是课题4。
Juha, it worked.
This working?
Yeah, you
One-
see it? You see it?
项目的这个课题
I
Wow.
cannot see anything. I cannot see anything.
You don't see anything on the Zoom? Do you
No.
see it, Wan Lee?
Of course,
I don't see you. I don't see you. I don't know why.
of microsurgery,
But this is my presentation.
3.5 years,
Well,
50 years in neurosurgery.
Okay.
Wonderful.
this is my lecture.
Hold on.
包括一些
Well, it's really not that important that we see you, but we want to see the lecture. Okay, well,
I understand.
Let
Can
me
you
get
see my
set up.
lecture?
Okay, I'm going to show you. It's going to be on. I'm sharing it, and
Okay.
can you see the
Let's do
screen?
something.
质感知识非理工体给我
Can you see it? I'm sure. Can you see it, Wan Lee?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Juha, you cannot see that?
I can see only my lecture now.
Yeah, that's what it is. Your PowerPoint, right?
Yeah.
Here.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's so we can
But I
screen
don't
share
see
you. When
anyone
you're
there.
ready, we'll go to your
资源
lecture, okay?
Juha is-
And then when you
have
say
it.
next, I go
I
next.
我们想做
I have
成这
to
么
check if the
You
if
see
the
it? You say next.
国外的
Oh, how can I play that?
Täysiksi no, ei sun ei tarvi olla tässä ollenkaan. Sä vaan oot siellä Zoomissa ja toi John, niin sä vaihtaa ne slaidit. Sillä sä voit lähteä tästä kokonaan.
Do you see it, Wan Lee, or no?
Yes.
第二个呢是
Okay.
Yes.
now I see.
Okay,
Now I
good,
see Yenli, John Bennett.
good.
I'm
Okay,
here. So how
Yeah,
to
I'm
do
here.
now? How to do now?
okay, when you're ready, we'll go to the screen. And I'll share it again. And all we do, we did it before. You just say next, next, next.
然后就
This takes time. I cannot change my slides.
Ja, mutta toi vaihtaa sun puolesta. Sillä sit kun sä oot sanonut kaikki jutut,
This takes time. 100 times to say next takes 2
Well,
3
well,
minutes.
just tell me when you want to go to speed up. Tell me go to
I cannot
Slide
change
eight, slide-
myself.
slide 80. You can't do it. You have to tell me.
Okay. Okay. I'm ready to begin. If
Okay.
you-
Okay,
if
just
it's-
give us a second here.
Time is not yet, but
Are you-
I cannot-
you wanna-
and
Okay, you
what
wanna-
about what about
Okay.
the videos then?
No, we cannot play the video.
Hmm?
Okay, yeah, unfortunate, we cannot play it because I'm not set up. It says your PowerPoint's not set up to play videos.
Oh my goodness.
So, wait, is the video a big part of it?
There are 4 good videos.
ne pystyy lähettämään kyllä sähköpostia ja sä et pysty
Well, It's gonna be tough to figure out how to load those up.
I have 4 good videos I want to show. Here is one video.
Yeah, I can. It says the PowerPoint's not set up to show videos. My PowerPoint, it does give me instructions, and I can try to do it. It might take a bit. If you think we should. do
Okay, I
that.
can manage without videos, but
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, you have, but
I'm sorry for
to
that.
learn how to load those up on the fly, it's gonna be tough.
的一些机构以及整个币的和
Well, thank your grandson for helping.
我这部分介绍完了。
Thank you. We have some difficulties because the connection is different now, like in China we had.
币的构型优化，设计作为对，咱们
There's been.
构型优化的设计。
And is your speaker here, Wan Lee?
因为我们这个整个这个文理的
Well, let me make you
这个构型啊，
make
Hello,
you a co-host.
hello, Yoli.
Hi,
Good
yeah.
morning, good
Hi,
morning.
hi. Hello, Tangjie.
Good evening.
Hello, John.
Hey, good morning.
Hi, Professor Yuha.
Hi, hello, Xubin.
Hi, hi, hi.
I have some technical difficulties, but I hope we can manage my lecture. This is
Okay.
We're gonna try.
New computer, so
Your tongue so short.
we cannot run the videos. This is the thing. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. But the videos are out now.
Yeah, let me look into quickly what it would take to fix that.
There are 4 videos. We can send to you the videos, but it is maybe, or I can show them at the
Well,
end.
if I do this, I'm risking losing this PowerPoint. I really don't want to, I've got it
Okay,
now.
okay, we go
Yeah,
with that.
Yeah, I've got it now, and if I leave the screen, I don't know if I'll be able to come back to it.
Okay. Okay, we have to learn to do better now then.
Yeah, one more thing to learn, the internet world.
This is
Hello, Dr. Tang.
Hello,
Hi, how you doing? I'm Dr. Bennett.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Very
you-
good. You know how Zoom works and everything, right?
Yes, I know. I know.
Okay.
I know it very well.
Okay, good.
宽度已经到了14厘米或者15.4厘米，基本上是把整个叶宽都占了。那么在里面呢，
有一个背景是谁在说话呀？
Sorry，那是我。
让它的宽度在
不是有一个什么13.5、13。啊，不同的声音。
Another meeting. Sorry, I just stopped.
OK，busy.
how many slides you have, John?
137 or something like that.
Yeah, then you have everything. So we will do well without the videos. Yeah. If I can
Okay.
show like that, then I will give my lecture.
Yeah, just tell me if you want to skip slides. Just tell me. Skip. know.
This seems to be complicated to
Oh, okay.
with the slides. I can manage without slides, but they were good slides.
Okay. Yeah, just tell me next, and I'll put the next slide on.
Can we send this videos to you?
Videos I can't do. It says
Okay.
I have to do it specially. Special
Okay,
setup.
then next time I know. Next time.
Yeah,
I
next
will-
maybe do it again if you want to do it again. That'd be fine.
Yeah,
with me.
yeah.
Fine with me.
Yeah.
Okay, we might as well start. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good morning from Miami Beach. This is Dr. John Bennett of Neurosurgical TV. We are honored for another edition of the Chinese Neurosurgical Journal. And today we have a special guest, Juha Hernesniemi. Everyone knows Juha. And I'll let Binzu give the formal introduction of Juha. Welcome, Binzu.
Hello, John. Dear audience. I think Professor Juha Hernesniemi, he is a world famous for a neurosurgeon, a great neurosurgeon, and he is also my mentor and my hero. So today, Professor Juha, now in Finland, he will make a new presentation. Yeah, let's welcome. Please, Professor.
And I have to always to say next when I want to change the slide. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, John. We go ahead. This is Juha Hernesniemi.
Yeah, you can see the slide, right?
This is my first slide. Yeah. This is Juha Hernesniemi. I was formerly professor of neurosurgery in Helsinki, and before that in Kuopio. I will tell some experience of my neurosurgery and life. I was close to 4 years in central China, Zhengzhou, after my retirement in Helsinki, and I will give in this lecture, I will give some advice how to train in the neurosurgery. Next slide. I can change. Could I change my slides? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear.
This is my second slide. I can change my slides myself. Yeah,
Okay, you want the second slide?
this is the second slide.
Okay.
I can change myself. This is first
Oh, you can
slide.
change it? Oh, you change it? Okay.
This is second slide. Okay,
Okay.
this makes it more easy. So this is my
Okay.
background. The biggest thing here is I finished high school 1966. I tried to come inside the medical faculty in Helsinki, but I failed. So I went to do medical studies in Zurich, and it changed my life. And you will hear the reasons. Neurosurgeon I became 1979. Same year, I made my PhD in Helsinki. And then after that, I moved to Kuopio. Why? To operate as much as possible, because there were only 2 neurosurgeons. And then, after heavy working, 1997, I returned to Helsinki and was 18 years the chairman in Helsinki. And during this time, we were flying high. Helsinki became like a mecca for neurosurgeons of all the world. More than 3,000 visitors came in 18 years. Also Xubin visited many times, and many Chinese. We were active in publishing, and I did a lot of surgeries in Kuopio and Helsinki. So now this year is celebration year for me, because I have been 50 years in neurosurgery. So when we compress my life, it is compressed in one slide. I could show only this slide. My life, I was born in a small village in the Österbotten, Middle Finland, with less than 100 people. And then I ended up in the largest country of the world, China, with 1,410 million people. So this is a big flight from very small village to Chengzhou with 11-12 million, and Henan, the biggest province in China. So this, I was 4 years in China, Chengzhou. Before that, I was 1 year in Nepal. This is the team in Chengzhou. Juha Hernesniemi International Center for Neurosurgery. Here is my chairman, Professor Tianxia Li. This is me here, and then the seniors are sitting here. And at that time, we had also one Finnish visitor, Essi. She was a medical student in Shanghai. She came for 1 week to visit us, so she looks different than the other team here. And this is Fitri, our neuroanesthetist from Indonesia. And so we were 4 foreigners. We were invited by Henan Provincial People's Hospital to work there, and it was Ajmal from Canada, USA, but he left soon, early, so it was Hugo Rade, Fitri and me. We were the team that was supporting each other, and one important person is here, is my secretary, Dongsan Shen. He was translating everything from English to Chinese, because I didn't learn Chinese. Even I was trying extremely hard with Fitri. We had a private teacher, 5 days a week, 2 hours every day, but I couldn't learn to speak Chinese, because I learned 600-700 words or phrases, but I couldn't. When I was speaking them out, the people were not understanding, because the intonation is very difficult in Chinese. And it seems for me that also for Chinese to learn English is very difficult, because English is very seldom in Middle China. Beijing, Shanghai, it is more common to meet people who speak English. So what I did in Henan Provincial People's Hospital, this is the second largest hospital in the world. The largest one is a university hospital in Zhengzhou with more than 10,000 beds. And second one is Henan Provincial People's Hospital. This is outpatient clinics with Tungshan, because I didn't speak Chinese, and then operation room. In operation room, we did well. In 1 year, I had a good team. And in 1 year, they could learn my habits. After that, it was easy. And then with directors, case discussions, board rounds, Thanksgiving, annual award, that kind of regular things were. But the main thing was that you were in a different culture, totally different culture, without skills in speaking, understanding, reading Chinese. And of course, China is different from Europe, like here, the young pioneers are here. And here I had a good video from the Henan Provincial People's Hospital. I try to tell more about that.
Excuse me, we're on the Helsinki slide now, because I don't think you're changing them. I have to change them. Okay.
What do you have now?
Okay, we have the Helsinki slide, more than 3,000 visitors of Helsinki Neurosurgery.
This is what I have also in front of me.
Oh, you do? Okay.
The world map with the needles.
Right. Okay, but you have to tell me when to change the slide, because you cannot change it.
Oh.
I have to change it. Just say next, okay, when you're ready.
Okay, this is the world map. This is the world map. This map was in our operation room in Helsinki. And as I told you, we had more than 3,000 visitors in 18 years. Helsinki, even it was a small, the clinics became like Mecca for many foreign neurosurgeons. So more than 3,000 visited during my chairmanship. And they put their needle in the map. You see here is the Western China. Many were coming from Japan, all around the world. The people were coming. And I have to say that I have been also in the most countries. So I was traveling around 1,000 times during my neurosurgery. Close to 1,000 travelings for lectures and surgeries, life courses. Next. And this is the small hospital. You know, this is winter. You have the picture now? John, tell me.
Next.
This is.
We see the winter house.
Yeah. This is there is an old house built 1932. This was a trauma center where neurosurgery was also located. And then 1958, this new part was built. But you see, as compared to big Chinese or USA hospitals, this is very small hospital. So old and small facilities. The people were not coming to see the hospital because many other hospitals, like Henan Provincial People's Hospital, next, was by far better. Could you change? John.
It's a good, effective teamwork. Is that the right slide?
Yeah. Okay, just say, tell me. So what the people came to see? They came to see extremely good, effective team. No one can do surgery alone. I'm very fast neurosurgeon, I'm very skilled neurosurgeon, but I had wonderful team, like in ice hockey, 6 players on the ice. We didn't speak anything, but we were doing the work very fast. Next. It is old myth that neurosurgery should be endless and tiresome. We learn to do very fast neurosurgery, Next. So this was the record. In one room, I could operate only in one room, even I was chairman, because this is the democracy in the Finland. The chairman has one room and the other neurosurgeons are operating in the other rooms, but with my good team, we could do 6 cerebral aneurysm operations in one day in one room after each others, and 2 of these aneurysms were basilar tip bifurcation aneurysms. So this is the record, not 7 operations. 6 operations is the record in one day. Next. And this was the principle: simple, fast, clean, while preserving normal anatomy. This was the principle. So clean means fast surgery because you don't have any bleedings. Next. And where is Finland? Finland is here. Finland is here. This is the most northern country in the European Union, and it's very close to China. It is only one country between China and Finland, but this is the big Russia. So it is far away. And now when the Russian-Ukrainian war came, so the flights over Russia are stopped. So it takes by far more longer time to come to Beijing. In former times, it was possible to fly to Beijing in 7-8 hours, and this is the difference now. And of course, the pandemics changed a lot. Now it's very difficult to go back to China. I'm now in Helsinki to finishing my memoirs. But here is Finland, most northern country of the European Union, and about the population for Chinese people, this 5.5 million people in Finland. When we went around Zhengzhou to give lecture, I was always asking how big is the city. It was 3 million, 4 million. I was told these are small cities, but the whole country, Finland, has only 5.5 million people. This is half of the Zhengzhou city. And other important place is here. This is Switzerland, Zurich. There I studied medical science, and this was my fate. Here, after trying to come inside Helsinki Medical School, you have this picture, 2 guys here, John.
Next picture, next slide.
Yeah, Zurich, we are coming soon. This is summer 1966. We tried to come inside Helsinki Medical Faculty. You see happy faces. We didn't know how hard the future will be. Here I'm 18 years old. I went with 18 years to Switzerland to study. Next. Next. So what I'm speaking now, and try to tell the story how to become a good neurosurgeon, international neurosurgeon, famous neurosurgeon. Next. You have to find heroes. You have to find the mentor or mentors, and then you have to have some friends, because no one can become a lone neurosurgeon. Next. And these were my heroes. This is Chicago, 1988. You can see here, Professor Yasarki, 63 years old.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You have it?
Yeah, I got it.
And then this is Professor Drake, late Professor Drake, 68 years. And look at these guys, after thousands of operations, they still learn anatomy, because to learn anatomy, it takes lifetime. So what I learned from both of them, work hard, learn anatomy. This is the most important thing in neurosurgery. Next, learn anatomy. Learn anatomy. Next, this is Professor Giant Töndery, 1969, when I was medical student. He was giving lecture in Zurich, and he was shouting, medical study is a lifetime work. Anatomy even more. And this is really true, because it takes more than our lifetime to learn anatomy perfect. Next. This is Professor of Anatomy, Giant Tenderi in Zurich, 1968, when I was listening his lectures. Great man, and he wrote also a book on topographical anatomy. Next slide. This is the book. This is my book. I still read the book, well-read book. I'm still take a look when before the operations on that, and you see that every word has been read very carefully. This is my anatomy book, besides many others, of course. Next, then there was a lecture, not obligatory, introduction to brain research, and I selected this lecture by Professor Konrad Ackert, and he asked in one lecture who wants to make research in Brain Research Institute of Zurich, and I raised my hand, and then I began to work 3 years in Brain Research Institute, headed by Professor Etsuro Kavanagh from Tokyo. He was not so good in English, but I learned my English language from her. And then Miss Helen Brubacher was laborant, and she was teaching me how to do with the histological slides. And what I learned there was this one, and this is very important. I was doing my PhD, small dissertation PhD study in the Brain Research Institute, but what I learned there, I learned to operate with the microscope. This is 1969. This is OPMI-1, one of the first models, and Professor Etsuro Kavanagh from Tokyo is assisting me. I'm operating here a cat or rat to find out afferent and efferent fibers to subphonica organ, and this was the most important thing. I learned to use the microscope. Everything else was, of course, I saw people around the world, researchers. I learned to speak English, but to learn to use the microscope, this is 31, close to 55 years ago. And this is my first lecture in Leningrad, nowadays you say St. Petersburg, 1969. I was giving a small lecture, 5 or 8 minutes. There were maybe 10 people listening to me on my brain anatomy lecture on the results of my study. This is in front of the famous Pavlov Institute. This is the leader of the Pavlov Institute. This is me, my girlfriend there. And this is Professor Ackert and Professor Etsuro Kavanagh. We were in Leningrad or St. Petersburg, and I was extremely happy after my lecture because 2 girls came to ask me autograph. So I was very proud of my presentation. This was my first neurosurgical or neuroanatomical presentation. Next slide. And when I was working in the Brain Research Institute, I noted that the basic research is very hard. And then I was thinking what to do. I had been in the clinics and I like to work in hospital. So I was listening to the lectures of Professor Hugo Kreienbühl. He's the teacher of Professor Yasaki, chairman and teacher of Professor Yasaki. I saw them both to lecture, and then I decided to become a neurosurgeon, to use my brain anatomic knowledge and go to neurosurgery. I asked Professor Yasaki to join the clinics after my medical studies, but then I heard that it's very tough in his clinic, so I went to Helsinki to specialize. Next slide. This is very important. If you want to earn a lot of money, so then you don't learn a lot of skills. You should not get seduced by the money, or like Professor Yasaki was saying, learning neurosurgery is big suffering, big suffering. Don't get seduced by money. This is very important. And when I came to Helsinki, I was told you will never be rich, you will not have a place for working, and you will not be famous. So at least I didn't become rich, but I became skilled and famous in Helsinki. And this is next. This is my first day in neurosurgery, June 3, because this was Monday, 1973. You see, I'm dictating, hairstyle different, and you see that I'm smoking here. Now, strictly forbidden. In China, you are smoking everywhere. The males are smoking, you cannot forbid, but here in Finland, you cannot smoke even in your own home. So it was easy. It was easy to stop smoking when I came back to Finland. No, but this was my first day in neurosurgery 50 years ago. Next slide. And these were my teachers. This is Professor Hernesniemi. He was trained by Oliver Krona, the famous Swedish neurosurgeon, like also Professor Gunnar af Björkesten. His successor is operating on here, and is assisting is Professor Henrik Krupp. He was my teacher in Helsinki. So here are all the three first Finnish professors of neurosurgery in one operation. And I joined the clinics 1973. Next slide. You see, there's no microscope used here. It is before microneurosurgery. And then I came to the clinics. So I was working hard, like I was taught by Professor Yasaki and Drake. I was working late in the evenings and trying to learn in this small hospital everything from neurosurgery. It was before the time of microneurosurgery. I came 1973, but the microscope came 1975 in our clinics, and I could help the seniors because I was used to operate on the microscope from the Brain Research Institute. I could help them to put their hands in the right place and assist well. Next slide. Now do you have the same slide here?
Yeah, is this your mentor, Seppo?
Yeah, this is, like I said, what you need in neurosurgery. You cannot do neurosurgery alone. You need heroes. My heroes were Professor Yasaki and Professor Drake, and this was my mentor. He was a senior neurosurgeon in Helsinki, Seppo Pakarinen. He made a famous PhD study on the incidence of subarachnoid hemorrhage. Here he is with his son, who is now famous cardiologist in Helsinki. He died some years ago, but I can simply say that he was a good man. I could always go to him, tell my problems, what happened also outside of neurosurgery. He was always mentoring me and supporting me, whatever it handed, complications, or if the patient died. So he said, Juha, we cannot do anything here. So he was supporting me in many ways. Good man, good man. Need a good man as a mentor. Next. And this is how it went. So I was in Helsinki neurosurgery. I made my residency 6 years, this years. And then I made also my PhD on severe head injuries. And then I began to search a place where to operate as much as possible. I noted in Helsinki, I was the youngest neurosurgeon. I was doing 8 operations in 2 or 3 months. So I was counting with this amount of operation, I will never be a great neurosurgeon. So I went to Sweden, to Uppsala. I went to Kuopio, Eastern Finland, and went back to Helsinki, and then back to Kuopio, very small city, Eastern Finland, but with the new Neurosurgical Institute, and with only 2 neurosurgeons, Dr. Vapalahti and me. And so I was 17 years in Kuopio. During this time, I spent more than 1 year as a fellow in London, Ontario, Canada, and Miami, USA. And from Kuopio, I visited many times Zurich back, Professor Yasakil, and then I made, as mentioned, fellowship in London, Ontario, Canada. London, Ontario is famous for operation on posterior circulation aneurysms, and then Professor Pierce moved to Miami, so I had to follow with my family to Miami. It was a big thing because Miami is totally different than London, Ontario. That was very small city with huge hospital. So my Kuopio time, what was important there? 1980, CT came, and then it was like a jungle, Eastern Finland. There were a lot of mental neurological hospitals, so we were screening many patients, and we were finding a lot of tumors, or here the giant AVM. Even I was young neurosurgeon, I had read my books and I was well trained, and I was reading and learning all the time. And 82, I remember on a January day, it was -40, extremely cold day, but I was operating on this giant AVM very successfully. And it was hard working in Kuopio because you had to do everything alone, help to put the patients on the operation table, make the position, and then make opening, operation, closing, bring the patient to ICU. So it was a lot of work, but I made more than 6,000 operations there, and I learned to do fast surgery because otherwise you could never sleep. Next. Then I noted in 1980s that I was operating, and then I noted that if I don't do something else, then I will always stay in the same position. I cannot come to higher positions. In Finland and most places in the world, you have to have a lot of publications to become chairman. So I went to Zurich to learn. I went to Professor Drake, PLS in Miami, to learn more and to have publications. This is Miami, 1992 or 3. Professor Drake is check. We are doing well. It's okay.
Yes.
Next.
You're which slide are we on, Juha?
I'm showing Professor Drake and me. And Professor Yasakil is standing there.
Okay. This is the one with Dr. Drake in Miami.
Yeah. Next slide.
Okay. Dr. Yasakil.
Yeah. So 9, and after being 3 years operating a lot in Kuopio, Eastern Finland, then I went back for some time to Zurich, and this changed my life. It was a new visit in Zurich. I saw how Professor Yasakil was operating on with his miraculous microscope, microneurosurgery. It was totally different that I had learned in Helsinki. I was sucking every moment. And next slide. This was the mouthpiece in the microscope. So you could move the microscope with the mouthpiece, and this made you fast operating on. I was standing always when I operated on, so I was very fast to change the angle. Next slide. And because it was not possible to speak anything in the operation room of Professor Yasakil, so we international visitors, we went always after the afternoon, after 2 operations, to discuss the miraculous operations of Professor Yasakil. He was number 1, then there was nothing, and then some other persons came. He was like Usain Bolt, the sprinter from Jamaica. He was so much superior to others. And we were discussing smoking, drinking beer there. One day, this Mexican neurosurgeon, one evening, this Mexican neurosurgeon, Jesus Gonzalez, said, "One day we will do better." We were laughing. We didn't believe, but it is true. Younger generation are always getting better because they are standing on the shoulders of the former generations. Next slide. This is Professor Drake, Professor Pieles. When I came to London, Ontario, so I didn't find the neurosurgical unit with my big luggage. One person came to me. It was Pieles standing in this picture, and he asked me, "Can I help you?" And those both guys, Drake and Pieles, they helped me in many ways. Without them, I would not be the chairman and professor in Helsinki. Next slide. And this is Professor Pieles, Mrs. Pieles, and their son, Drew, in Miami. Miami is different from Finland, subtropical area, very humid weather. The sun made a world round sailing after this photo. Next slide. And this was the book I was doing. The Drake, Pieles, Hernesniemi, Surgery of Vertebral Basilar Aneurysms. This was huge work, hard working, because the number of patients was very high, close to 2,000, 1,767 patients. And forward was by Professor Yasaki. So it was hard work, and I wrote the book myself. Professor Pieles was sailing, and Professor Drake was playing golf. I was working hard, 18 hours a day on the book. Next slide. And this is Professor Drake. Professor Yasaki, I learned extremely skilled microneurosurgery, but from Professor Drake, I learned a lot. He was extremely good neurosurgeon, good medical doctor, but also good human being. And I think this third one, good human being, is the most difficult thing in our profession. So he was a wonderful person, always very humble, modest, never shouting. He was speaking, not with loud voice, but everybody was doing like he thought, because there was big respect to Professor Drake. Next. I was mocked because I went very old. I was 45 when I made my fellowship in London, Ontario, and Miami. This is what Professor Picard from Great Britain was writing about me. At the age of 45, this man seems to be happy to analyze surgeries of others. This is, of course, very nasty writing, but I operated all the cases of Drake and Pieles in my head. And so this is Padua, Italy, 2002. So I went with my fellow, my nurse, to Padua, invited by Professor Scienza and Giancarlo Perra to operate on a young lady. Here, Croatian student, she didn't have any money, but she had a huge vertebral junction aneurysm, 4.5 centimeters. So I was asked to operate on it, and I knew how to do, because I had operated so many cases of Professor Drake and Pieles in my mind. So I went to Padua. We operated first two unruptured aneurysm, one MCA aneurysm, one ACAM aneurysm, and after that we took this giant vertebral junction aneurysm patient on the table as a third case in the same day, and made wonderful operation, and she recovered extremely well. She's writing me emails. She just married now, recently married with a USA guy. And these were my first fellows. First came Hu Shen from China. He was from Shenyang. he wrote me a letter. I will come to be your fellow. And then he came. He didn't speak a lot of English, but he was very good neurosurgeon, knew the anatomy. Then came Keisuke from Japan, Ayse from Turkey, Emel from Turkey. These were my first fellows, and then more than 100 fellows during my time were there. And this is very demanding to have fellows because you have to live with them all the time. They are with you all the time. You have to support them in a foreign country. And these are my last fellows. You are doing well, John?
Yes, this is the operating room.
This is the so-called Latino group. They were all speaking Spanish except one German, but other were Spanish group coming from South America, from Spain, Gran Canaria. So this was the Latino team. These were my last fellows. So altogether in 18 years, I had around 100 fellows, but many visitors, more than 3,000 came around the world. So we had always many. Next. So in the book on the word of basilar aneurysm, we wrote this sentence. This is from Francis Bacon, very old sentence. Every man owes it as a debt to his profession to put on record whatever he has done that might be of use to others. This is a very important sentence. When you are doing something important, you should write down, make videos nowadays, and publish so that other people can learn it. This sentence is in the book of the vertebral basilar aneurysms. Next slide. And then we wrote in Helsinki, we wrote own book, Helsinki Neurosurgery, Basics and Tricks. This is well known in China because it is translated in Chinese, but also in many other languages, close to 10 languages. It was a very popular book presenting our techniques, and then there are nice stories at the end of the book, how to become a neurosurgeon, how to select neurosurgeons. During my time, I have been involved in more than 700 publications. This is maybe the most famous of these publications, besides Drake Piele's Hernesniemi vertebral basilar aneurysm book. Next. And then life changed. Who was coming to Helsinki? This is 2001. This is my chairman, neurologist, Professor Markku Kaste. This is, of course, Professor Yasakil. He came 2001. At the age of 76, he was invited to Finland to give a lecture, and then we invited him to Helsinki to operate on. And he stayed 2 weeks with his fellow, Sukru Sakra, and this is me that time, 2001. So he liked very much our operation room and our methods. Why? Because I had visited many times Zurich and copied his techniques, and the operation room was very similar. So he came 3 summers, he came to operate on many cases. He was not, after retiring in Zurich, he moved to Little Rock. And of course, in Little Rock, he didn't have so many patients, but in Finland, he had many. This is Professor Yasakil teaching in Helsinki. This is 2003. And you see, everybody's listening. More than 100 people were usually coming for the Helsinki life course. In the beginning, it was 2 weeks, but our nurses were saying it is too heavy to have 2 weeks. Then we finished, reduced for 1 week, and the life course was 20 times. So it was one of the very popular life course. Why? Because we did difficult surgeries. Professor Yasaki was in the beginning there, and after him came Professor Ugur Thyre and Ali Christ, Professor Yasaki's students, and many other famous neurosurgeons came to operate on there during 1 week. But this is Helsinki 2003. You see the Professor Yasaki, he's here 78 years. He's fighting with the difficult brain tumor with the mouthpiece, microscope, and trying to manage extremely well. This is Leena Kivipelto. She is the first Finnish female neurosurgeon assisting, supporting Professor Jasaki with the difficult operation. And this is Hussein. Hussein was a great artist, giving a picture from the operation room when Professor Jasaki was there. This is the picture. And when you look at this picture, so this is me assisting Professor Jasaki, this is Professor Jasaki, this is Mrs. Diane Jasaki assisting here, and these are two Finnish nurses. So if you look at this picture, it looks like from China, because our eyes see different based on our experience. This is what I have learned. This next slide. Are we doing well, John?
Yes,
This is
Yazagil with Hussein.
yeah, but now Hussein is closing here, and our habit in Helsinki, we were closing the wounds under microscope. This is very important. This one I couldn't bring to Chengzhou. No one was using microscope to close the wounds. But this is I failed totally. I tried to explain in Henan province people's hospital that we had to use the microscope for closing. It was only Hugo, my student, who was closing under microscope. But when you close under microscope, you learn to use the mouthpiece, you learn to use the microscope. It's a very good way to learn microneurosurgery to close the wound. So here Hussein is closing. Next slide. Next slide we have. So in Helsinki we had all the time a lot of people. Actually there was a live course.
I'm sorry. I'll get that.
I hear Chinese now. Something wrong?
No, I got that. I got that. It was just interference from the panel. It's okay. Gil.
Okay. So during 18 years, there was all the time a lot of visitors. Since 97, more than 3,000 people around the world came. And of course, icons like Professor Jasaki, Konovalov, Dolenz, Almefti, Spätzle, and from Shanghai, Mao Jing and Xubin came. And then out of the endovasculars, Guglielmi came, Moret came, Ling Feng from Beijing came, and many prominent visitors were among young neurosurgeons in Helsinki. So we had all the time live course, and we all the time demonstrating our skills. Next, this is my operation room. A lot of people all the time, 15, 20 people were following the operations, and we had many good screens, 6 or 7 good screens. You could see well what was done under the microscope. I was always positioning, opening the head myself, doing the surgery, aneurysm or tumor surgery, and then my fellows were closing. Next slide. And this is Helsinki nowadays. This is my successor, Professor Mika Niemelä. He's a very tall man. This is the smallest nurse in Helsinki operating together. So when I was resident in Helsinki, there were 750 operations. When I became chairman, 1,700. And when I left 2050, when I had to retire from Helsinki, so there were 3,500 operations a year in 4 rooms. And main part, imaging, CT came and MRI came. So you found a lot of tumors, vascular lesions, and of course microsurgery made the surgical treatment safer. Then we had more neurological resources, different treatment methods, and lifetime became by far higher. When I was resident, it was forbidden to operate on any patient who was older than 60 years. And Nowadays, it is close to 100 years, the age limit. So attitude is more active. Next slide. And this is the best moment to teach. Don't ask me anything before operation because I'm concentrating for the operation. I don't want to tell what I'm going to do. And in China, this is different. There's a lot of shouting in operation room. You hear all the time advices. This is totally different than I have learned from Professor Yasakil and many others. You have to be silent in the operation room. But after operation, you can teach because then you have done your work and then you can exactly tell how it was. This is the best moment to teach is when the people are closing the wound. Next slide. So now there's heavy control of the surroundings and society. So nowadays you cannot continue with the flow of complications and poor surgery because there's media, internet, you can send WeChat, WhatsApp message same day or from the operation room that something is going wrong. So you are never operating alone. You are operating in front of the whole world all the time. This is important. Next slide. And complications, they are no fates. They are mainly caused by lack of skills and of knowledge. Next slide. There is a lot of now endovascular surgery, there's radiosurgery. So if open microsurgery wants to survive, we have to be good and efficient. We have to be both. Next slide. And how to learn? We have to learn anatomy. And our lifetime is too short to learn perfect anatomy. So we have to begin to learn anatomy early and continue late. Then you can see operations and videos. You have to assist a lot to see a lot of operations and discussing the cases, like I said, after operations. And then you begin to do your own operations and you have to spend a lot of time with neurosurgery. This is important. This is extremely important. Next slide. This is from cadaveric laboratory. If you have the possibility to go to cadaveric laboratory, like in Little Rock, St. Louis, Stockholm, Berlin, then you can learn a lot in cadaveric laboratory, but you have to remember that this cadaveric brain is different from the living brain. You can learn anatomy, but the substance is different. Next slide. And then this is the present microscope. This is Penteron microscope, which I used a lot. First, I was operating with OPMI-1, then some Giants balance microscope, and then finally came the balance microscope. And I have always been using the mouthpiece. I don't understand that you are not using mouthpiece because it makes your surgery extremely fast and clean. With mouthpiece, you can reduce the operation time 40%. And with this fine microscope, you can save every operation. You can make videos and photos. We have published my video series 1001 with around 1,600 videos. It is free in internet, except in China, difficult to get because internet is not open, and then you can edit the videos. Nowadays there's exoscope coming. This is for the younger generation. They say that it's more easy to use it because your neck is not suffering. I never had any problems with my body or neck because I was doing gymnastics and training my muscles. Next slide. You have now short instruments. In China, you are learning to eat with chopsticks. So you are using long instruments to eat, but this is not for surgery good. You should have short instruments in surgery because then you come close to the tumor or aneurysm is better. Then you don't have tremor when you are working far away. This is very important, short or proper instrument, and to train manual skills. This is very important. Next slide. And this is how to do. Plan your surgeries well, operate in your mind the operations many times, and then do clean surgery without any bleedings, know the anatomy, and this way you are effective. Like I told, I could do many operations in one room, 4 up to 6 operations in one day with my effective team, because they were so effective, and it was small hospital, so you could take the next patient immediately in 10 or 15 minutes. Changing times were extremely short. Next slide. And what you have to do, this is focused microsurgery. You have to treat the lesion and only the lesion, not to hurt the cranial nerves or arteries or veins, or you treat the lesion. When I came to Chengzhou, I was told you are not doing as well as in your videos. Why? Because they didn't know how I am operating on. It took more than 1 year to teach my own habits, and this is always. Now I lost my team, I'm alone. It's difficult to go to operate on somewhere. If you think you can go somewhere to operate on alone, foreign country, do the same than in your home kitchen, like Ali Christ is saying, then you make a big mistake, because the strength of Helsinki team was that we were a team and skilled people together. There's a lot of discussion now. Those who are opening the head, it's dangerous. To open the head is dangerous. This is told in China all the time. This makes endovascular people are telling it. It's dangerous to open the head. This knowledge message is going around, but this is nonsense. If you cannot save the head, then you should stop your surgery, do something else, endovascular or psychiatry, neurology. So next. And this is what I began to do in 1980s. This is lateral supraorbital approach, extremely fast opening as compared to pterional opening, and very little muscle atrophy and only one burr hole here. This is what I began to do because I noted I don't need the temporal side of the pterional approach to treat anterior circulation aneurysms or anterior fossa tumors. And there's a lot of discussion. There's a competition. Who can do through the smallest flap, 2 centimeters, 2.5 centimeters. Flaps should be large enough for your skills, for your instruments, for the lesion. When you are a young neurosurgeon, you have to do bigger flaps. When you are experienced, then you can do through very small flaps, but there are some limits. You may have complications and you cannot manage the bleeding. Surgery is not sports. Who is suffering? It is the patient who might die or be invalidized. Next. And this was our trick. Extremely good anesthesia in Helsinki. Everybody coming to Helsinki was saying, the brain is slack. And when the brain is slack, there is a good room to do good microsurgery. Then you can avoid skull-base resection, avoid brain compression, avoid brain destruction. This is very important. Good cooperation with anesthesia. Next.
I'm sorry, you have which slide are we on? Lateral or supraorbital approach?
This is good anesthesia.
Are we on the slide? Lateral supraorbital approach?
Go forwards. I showed already.
Forward, okay, tell me when. Good anesthesia, good anesthesia.
Good anesthesia is our secret weapon. Because if in Helsinki, people came to Helsinki, they saw brain is slack. It's easy to operate when the brain is slack. We tried to teach in Henan. We learned something, but we never became that level like in Helsinki. Next slide. And this is, I cannot show this video. There are 4 aneurysms, 3 MC aneurysms, 2 on the right side, 1 on the left side, and then basilar aneurysm. I made all through lateral supraorbital approach in 1 hour. Next slide. Next slide. Can you hear?
Yes, giant basilar
This
aneurysm.
one I cannot show. This was a 4 centimeter giant basilar aneurysm I operated on. I can show next time when we have better techniques. I can show, but it is extremely difficult aneurysm. You cannot treat that kind of aneurysm with endovascular means. You need a good surgery, and this is getting seldom. Okay, next slide. So, what are the secrets? Small package of clean and fast surgery. Head high, head higher than the heart. Then you have reduced bleeding. We never reserved blood for the operation because we had downstairs we could get quickly blood if needed, and it was seldom we needed bleeding or a little. Next. And when you are using the microscope, you have to be fast, and with the mouth switch you are fast because the microscope cooks the brain. I was always using 95% of the light, but I was moving all the time the microscope so it didn't burn or coagulate the brain surface. Next slide. Since 80s, I have used tissue glue to stop the bleedings in the skull base or tumor bed. Next slide. And then to stop the bleedings from the bone, I have used hot drilling to stop the bony bleedings with diamond ore. This is very effective. Next slide. And then since 2007, I have used the highest magnification I can get from the microscope. This is 14 or 15 times. It means that your operation is more precise. This is very important. Next slide. And this is not Helsinki, this is Zhengzhou. You see, it is like a copy from Helsinki operation room. The scrub nurse, Ping Chen, she's looking at the screen, she's speaking English, but we don't speak because she knows what I'm doing. This is how the team is working. Team is working, not speaking a lot, not shouting, good anesthesia there, and you just do your work and then you are doing fast. Next slide, next slide. And I have to thank, I was always fortunate to have the best personnel in the world. You have always the best personnel if you are doing well with your team. 6 people in the operation room, like on the ice hockey field. Next slide. So many routes go to Rome. Go around the world. You will see many different ways to operate on. It is like food. You can go to different kitchens in China. You are doing totally different food than in Europe or USA. But you can go and take a look on also on the operation methods and select the shortest and best one in your use. Next slide. And this is once more the world map. You see, the people were coming around the world to Helsinki. I went to most places also. I was feeling the experience. I was sitting close to 3 years in cold corners of different operation rooms, and I was stealing the techniques. I call it stealing. It is not the right word. I was picking up the best pieces and then I was using them. I never published as my own techniques those which I picked up around the world. Only those which we developed ourselves in Helsinki. So a lot of international training. Next slide. So there are different levels of manual skills. This is Professor Spätzle in Helsinki, 2009. Dr. Martin Lehetska made his PhD on big number of pericallosal artery aneurysm, more than 500. This Rosanna Romani, who made her PhD on anterior fossa meningiomas, operated through lateral supraorta approach, and here is Tanikawa doing bypass surgery. So there are different levels of manual skills, and you should train yourself so that you come here to the highest level. And how to become to the highest level? It depends on the number of repetitions and length of career. This is very important. But this is Professor Konovalov, former chairman so many years at Burdenko Institute in Moscow, one of my heroes also. And this is maybe the best achievement during my career. This is World Neurosurgery 2040. Here are 69 best neurosurgeons in the last 100 years. And here in North, it's me. So I'm in good company of Cushing, Dandy, Yasarkil, many others. So this is a cream of the cream. And there are also two Chinese professors, one from Beijing and one from Shanghai. There's Professor Drake here, and so on. So good company. I was very proud of that. I'm still proud of that in this selection. So good microsurgery. We are speaking about good microsurgery. I never met a person who wanted to be a bad microneurosurgeon. So only training makes a master. Hard working, learning anatomy. You have to eliminate the tremor. If you have a tremor that doesn't disappear within the first year of training, you should select something else than microneurosurgery, because you are operating under microscope, under high magnification, and then you should analyze your own experience. You should have like a diary, collect all the videos and all your cases in the diary book, so you know what you have done. And next, we are doing well, John?
Yes, yes.
This is important. This is the message for Chinese neurosurgeons. Learn English and publish. In China, I have seen extremely good neurosurgeons, but without any skills in scientific writing, without any interest in publishing. They should publish their difficult cases, because in China you have huge amount of difficult cases and you are used to do them. You should publish and publish in English. This is important. English is the language of neurosurgery and science, whatever you say. If you publish in Chinese, no one can read it. So publish in English and publish your good cases in English. This is important. Learn English, publish. Learn English is as important than to learn to operate on well. Next slide. And neurosurgery is not different from sports, soccer, ice hockey, skiing, or then playing an instrument, cricket, ballet, dancing, painting, learning new language. What is neurosurgery? Learning, hard working, hard training is needed to learn these things. Next slide. And this is the common rule that if you train 10,000 hours, then you are at the top of the world, whatever you are doing, sports or playing instrument. And this is my rule about neurosurgery. When you have been 10,000 days in neurosurgical operation room, then you are at your best. This is around 60 years. Then you are doing the best. You are still in good condition and you have huge experience. Next slide. And if you think that if you have done 100 operations, then you can do this operation. It is not enough. You have to repeat. 1,000 is a good number. If you have done 1,000 some operation, then you have seen all possible complications, drawbacks. So you have to repeat. So this is extremely important. Next slide. And this is what I show in the Western world. Look at East and West all around. Look at Japan, look at China, look at Korea, look at India and Russia, all around the world. Now there are good neurosurgeons, and in the big countries like here, there's a lot of competition, devotion to the work, high number of cases, especially in China. It's like Yellow River, and you have to go around. Don't stay only in your own place, in your own comfort zone. Ask for good places. Good places are many in the world. Go around, take a look, then you will get by far better neurosurgeon. Are we here? Not the walls. The team is doing the work. This is one extremely fine hospital, nearly diamonds on the wall, but very poor surgery in the operation room. But of course, when the family and patient is coming to that kind of fine hospital, then they think the surgical level is also extremely good. You can do very good surgery in very modest hospitals. You should not get depressed about your poor facilities. Like you remember, Helsinki was small, old hospital, but we were a good team, and this is important. Next slide. So this is important. Train your best young people. They should become better than you. Professor Drake was always telling, if we don't find that kind of person who is getting better than we wait. Then we wait, and one year, they are coming while getting better than the old generation. Next slide. So which are problems in training? 3 problems nowadays: time. There are different regulations. Young people need free time, quality time, family time, and general attitude is not so good if you are not making a lot of money with your hard working. I called my fellows hungry samurais because they were not paid. They got the food, but they were working hard nearly day and night with me and learned and supported me. So next slide. So this is Europe. European regulations, 37 hours working time a week. This is not enough to become a good neurosurgeon. This is nonsense. You have to do 80 hours, up to 100 hours to become a good neurosurgeon. So it means, because they are controlling these working times, you have to do a lot of off-job training, learning anatomy, reading anatomy, training manual skills, looking at videos, and then you should travel also to see other places, how they are doing. Next slide. So if you can draw, then draw. This is Hu Shen. You see 2000, year 2000. Beautiful picture of aneurysm operation. He didn't speak well English, but I saw that he's good in neurosurgery. Then one day I asked him to draw, and he made that kind of beautiful drawings. We put these drawings in the publications, of course. Next slide. If you cannot draw, then you can make with the beautiful microscope. Can you see now this photo now? It's carotid artery and aneurysm here. And you can see beautifully anterior artery. You can make your own diary with videos and photos. Next slide. So I always speak about planning the operation. You make the operation in your brain mental training. This is very important. You can prepare next day operation when you go to sleep or even into sleep. This is mental training. You have done it many times. Then there's nothing new when you go to operation room. Next slide. So how to optimize training? This is important now. Discuss your problems. You have to discuss the problems of neurosurgical training with somebody, not with everyone. This is not with everybody. With people you trust, with your mentor and some good friends. You should share your troubles with somebody you trust. Like I had wonderful mentor, the pipe smoking Dr. Pakarinen. Now you should work hard, do also unpleasant jobs well, and assist a lot to see how the surgery is done. Should learn from others. The nurses are teaching you well. This is very important. And as mentioned many times, you cannot become alone neurosurgeon. You have to be able to cooperate well, to work with many people. Next. Nowadays, as compared to 70s, life is easier now. You can share the experience. You can go to internet, look at the videos and read. But if you have a lot of videos and books and you don't read or look at them, it's of no use. They are not coming in your head if you put them under the pillow. You have to work hard to learn techniques and anatomy. Now, of course, during the COVID time, traveling was reduced, actually stopped. But now, maybe one day also it's easy to travel from China. Now, very difficult to come to China because of the quarantines. But during the COVID time, the webinars were begun. This is a wonderful way of teaching all the world. So with Subin, we made 1 year webinars with extremely famous neurosurgeons, beginning from Jasarkil, Vinko Dolens, and we made also our own lectures. So we had up to 5,000 audience at one time. Internet is full of knowledge. Patients go to internet and they have a lot of knowledge when they come to operation, to hospital, but you should spread the wisdom because you know what is wrong and right. Then you have nowadays you have improved audiovisual techniques. You have the operative videos, which I couldn't show now. Training is better. And there have been live surgery courses. Helsinki live course was stopped, finished, number of people coming there went down. And of course, the COVID time was stopping the traveling heavily. So there are nowadays only few places who continue with live courses. In China, we had live courses in the Shaolin Congress because China is big. So you can get domestic people. They can travel there, but not foreign people cannot travel because there's still a quarantine of 10 days. And it's very hard to be in quarantine. So Helsinki stopped live courses, but now you have in Sapporo, by Tanikawa, you have by Lawton, at Barrow, Ali Christ is giving live surgery courses and so on. So you can go to many good places to learn different techniques. And one of the important things in the live courses is that you meet other young neurosurgeons and you can compare and make a network for your life. Next slide. Which are the problems in training? The personality of the trainee might be not good for neurosurgery. If you cannot cooperate with other people, with patients, other doctors, nurses, then you cannot become a neurosurgeon. Then your attitude might be not good for neurosurgery. If you ignore all the advices, then you cannot become a neurosurgeon. You have to listen to the seniors, older neurosurgeons who have more experience. Then what are problems in training from the teacher side? There's lack of mentors, lack of heroes. lack of friends. Heroes you can find. You should have some excellent neurosurgeons as heroes, and nowadays you can find them also on the internet. And some friends, not huge number, some friends. In the neurosurgery, there's a lot of protection of own territory. This is my case, I have to do this case. This is my microscope. You cannot use that, and so on. So actually, competition is very hard. Neurosurgeons are like a bunch of wolves, all the time fighting and for their own patients, money, obligations, and so on. So you have to manage with this world. And remember, training is lifelong. It is never finished. Learn to use your time. Optimize your surroundings to have enough time for neurosurgery. Learn from history and surroundings. This is important. And this is what I always say. Listen to your teachers, but don't believe everything. If you believe everything, then you continue like your teacher, 40 years, same kind of surgery. You have to think. You have to be critical and think, how could I do that better? So don't believe everything that is told you. Be critical. So next slide.
I think I'm a little lost here. Which slide are we on?
Those with Finnish flags. Training
Yeah,
is
I'm on the
lifelong.
do not gossip slide.
No, it's not yet.
Okay, do I go forward from here? Do not gossip?
Backwards.
Backward, okay.
Training is lifelong. Learn to
Okay.
use.
Study poor outcomes.
Do not spend your life working days in meetings.
Oh,
Only
okay.
very few meetings in the hospitals are important, but if you take all the meetings, you are losing a lot of time to learn
Yeah.
surgery.
Yeah, okay.
Next slide
Yeah,
is
I'll
here.
find- I'll
Traveling.
find
Stealing the experience. Do you have it?
Not yet. I'm looking for this. Sorry about this. I gotta back up, I think. I want the traveling part.
Traveling, stealing the
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, optimized training, planning, mental training. Forward from there. Planning, mental training.
Yeah, go forward.
Okay,
Forward.
okay. Tell me when, gentlemen.
This is
Forward.
Okay,
the slide about traveling.
Traveling, yes.
oh, traveling.
Now we are there. Okay, traveling is important. Why? Of course, you can see a lot of surgeries and videos in the internet, but there are many times they edited. It is good to go around to see how the hospital is organized. I had a great day in Huashan Hospital with Xubin. I saw how well organized everything he could do. Extremely many bypasses in one day because of good organization. This is very important. So I have been sitting in the cold corners of different operation rooms of the world, close to 3 years, suffering, but always learning. Next slide. And now, traveling no more needed is the question. It's difficult to travel nowadays if you have quarantines and so, but to smell the blood and see how the teams are working, it is important. So to go around the world is still needed. Or of course, China is big. You can go to different hospitals and see different habits, but it's good to go also around the world in different places. Can you follow me?
We're at the study complications, poor outcome page.
Study complication and poor outcomes. Now we are there.
Yes.
Okay, next slide. This is most important slide. This is most important slide. We concentrate for that. This is a sentence from Professor Drake in the book of the vertebropatellar aneurysms, and this is extremely important for the philosophy. Because our memory is 3 months, around 3 months. So with databases, we can save all the cases. And this is what Dr. Drake is saying from his lifetime experience. If only we could have back again many of those who were lost or badly hurt. Lost means died or badly injured, for a second chance in the operative room with what we have learned. This is extremely important. When you are getting more experience, you have less complications. And this is the lifetime experience of every neurosurgeon. You regret many things you have done. Next slide. Next slide. And this is very important. Nowadays, there are connections around the world. Every neurosurgeon who is active and doing a lot of cases has complications, has poor outcomes, has terribilities. Don't gossip, don't gossip. I always say, don't tell me any gossips because I have enough own problems. I have enough own problems. If this gossip is not good and I'm learning something, I don't want to hear it. Next slide. And this is important for Michelangelo, great artist. We paint with the brain, not with the hands. So what we are doing is in our brain. We have to learn anatomy, and then we are doing with our instruments, the surgeries. Next slide. And my goal in surgery in China was, don't save the hair, don't save the hair. I shaved the female hair last time, 1982. This is 40 years ago. Then in anesthesia, we should have a slack brain, should have head high. I'm using a lot of semi-sitting or sitting position. I tried to teach different approaches. I was operating some brainstem cavernomas, AVM surgery, because I had the possibility in Henan to do that. Next slide. So take a look here. It's the beautiful Chinese hair, female hair. You should respect that. Respect that. Don't do like that. Don't take the beautiful hair away. It takes more than 1 year to grow up. It looks terrible for females. Take a look at this young girl. Had a parietal AVM, a little bit hair taken out, and she can go back to school immediately. The same here. This is from my office. I had another AVM patient. Beautiful hair, saved. Another patient with AVM, beautiful Chinese hair, saved. Totally different if you take all the hair away. This is important. This is what I wanted to change in China. I hope you can change it because I really shaved all the hair from female 40 years ago, last time. So this is from Xi'an, you know, this is Xi'an terracotta shoulders. I have done more than 16,500 operations. So there is a lot of all kind of complications. So I look at these Xi'an terracotta shoulders. This one died. This had hemiplegia. This had oculomotor palsy. So it is big collection of complications you collect in when you are doing a lot of surgeries. If you go around and tell I have no complication, it means that you are lying or you are not doing any surgery. So neurosurgery is hard contact sport connected with complications. Next slide. So to do neurosurgery, you have to be in good condition, physically and psychologically. You have to have good living style, exercise to have your muscles good to be able to operate on a lot, some free time, and sleep. Sleep gives power. This is important. Some sleep. I was sleeping very little when I was in my most active times, 4 or 5 hours a night, but then one long night during the weekend. And you have to have family and friends because you need some balance in your life. So this is how it is. The young generation is standing on the shoulders of the former generation. That's why they go higher, and that's why younger generation must become better always. Next slide. This is COVID time, China. This is from Wuhan, COVID time. Extremely hard working. It is unpleasant to be in this protection research. And this was my 6 weeks quarantine. And I turned it good. You see that the door is sealed. I was not allowed to go out. I got once a day, I got some food and drinking. But what I began to do, I began to write my memories. And now, after 3 years, they are ready, coming September 1st in Finnish, and then half a year later in English and also in Chinese. We have the plan to publish my memories in Henan Provincial People's Hospital, February, Chinese edition, and so on with different languages. So use your time. If you have difficulties, don't just fool around. I was working extremely hard with my memories. I was asked many years, 10 to 15 years, to write down my memories. I always said, not possible because I'm not yet finished. But now I took the possibility and wrote my memories. And I'm happy I could do it. And I'm very grateful for Henan Provincial People's Hospital because they understood what I was doing, writing my memories. It's hard work. And if I knew how hard it is, maybe I would have not begun this work. But now this is ready, more than 500 pages, and I know when you translate in Chinese, it will be less, smaller book, but the things remain. So this is COVID time in Henan Provincial People's Hospital. Difficult to come inside, everything is controlled, and because there are a lot of people in China, so there's no distance like in Europe. 2 meters or 1.5 meters distance. This is lived in my hospital. A lot of people close to each other, but somehow you can manage, but never come to zero with COVID. COVID is coming, and it is difficult to understand how you will manage when the quarantines will be away. This is very difficult to understand. So this is important now, extremely important. Never forget those who helped and guided you. This is young basketball player, and this is old coach supported by the same basketball player. This is important. You have to be grateful for those who have been teaching you. I'm extremely grateful to Professor Jasarkil, who was my hero and my teacher and my mentor also. And this is Helsinki Life Course. Tuesday evenings, we had always dinner. This is Chris, Ugur Tyre, Sadasti, me, my successor, Mika Niemelä, and this is Evandro Oliveira from Brazil. Unfortunately, he became amyotrophic lateral sclerosis and died 1 year ago. Great man. So, and this is from Miami. This is Peerless. This is Drake. And I look here younger because I'm younger here. It is year 92. 30 years ago, I was presenting the book for Professor Drake and Peerless of the perverted basilar anorexia This is one of the important books because with the book and many publications with them, I became professor in Helsinki and could realize my dream to make Helsinki like Zurich or London, Ontario, Mecca for teaching. This is once more Konovalov in Burdenko, one of the greatest neurosurgeons of all the times. And this is Henan, this is young lady with AVM. And here she's back in her dancing group. No hair taken out. Remember, don't say the beautiful Chinese hair. So thank you very much, Seisheni. Seisheni, thanks. Kiitos. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I will try to do better next time.
Yes, I apologize for being a little off too on the slideshow. Okay, Ben.
Thank you, Professor Juha Hernesniemi. Every time when I learned a lot from Professor Juha, and his presentation is always inspiring me to be a even better neurosurgeon and even better human being. Thank you again, Professor Hernesniemi.
Thank you, Subin, for your kind words. Subin came as a student to Helsinki, then he became the IQVA neurosurgeon. Now Subin is my hero. He's the world champion of bypasses. He's famous all around the world. His name is known everywhere by every neurosurgeon. It's highest level neurosurgery, like I told. Different levels, and Subin has organized extremely good his team. He can do so many bypasses a year. I think 17 is the record in one day. So this one, no one can believe if you tell that. When the China opens and then when the China opens and the quarantines will be finished, so I think many people will come to learn in Pashan Hospital and other.
Yes, we have around 30 neurosurgeons are waiting to visit us.
Yeah, this is I was suffering of the quarantine so much that now it is 10 days. So only 10 days, but I will plan to come in February to China to bring the Chinese version of my memories and celebrate that.
Welcome, Takashi Khan. Do you want to make a comment, Takashi?
Thank you, Juha. The great lecture, so very informative, and for Japanese doctors, so very impressive lecture. So I have to, I've learned your experience and your spirits of the training as a neurosurgeon. I will keep training from even if this year, even if my age, so I keep studying and training. I'm very motivated. Thank you for the lecture.
Okay.
Thank you very much. We have to remember that Professor Jasek is now 97 years old and he's writing 2 books on neurosurgery still. I am not planning to do that way, but I will enjoy also some other things in my life than neurosurgery. 50 years, memories, maybe enough. I can travel, lecture, but maybe China will remain closed long time now. Still.
Wan Li, would you like to make a comment? Wan Li Zhao?
Actually, I think we should move to the next speaker and maybe it's a little bit longer.
Okay.
The first speaker. So let's introduce the second speaker, Dr. Tang from Xuanwu Hospital. Actually, Dr. Tang was my colleague. We had worked together for about 20 years, and now he's working in another large neurosurgical center in China, the Beijing Xuanwu Hospital. And today, I think he'd like to introduce his experience about the skull-based surgery approach, the change of the concept and the practice. Right, Dr. Tang, can you start?
Hello, yeah, I can hear you. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Yuanli and the Professor Xubin. And also, I'm very honored and pleased to accept this invitation to share my experience and my knowledge. And I'm very pleased to listen to the lectures by Professor Juha. And from his historical review of his personal his career in neurosurgery from young to the very skilled and very world famous neurosurgeon is inspired. I think for me, inspiration just like the Xubin had mentioned already, and also his some the
鸡蛋
ideas.
拿了吗？那他给钱了吗？
His ideas about I agree with his some of the ideas from his 50 years experience for the surgery, and from clean, and this is very important for the manipulation in the operation surgically. So my topic is also continues is on my understandings, and also I want to emphasize the changing about the neurosurgery. It's a kind of the evolution. I think it's a returns to the safe and the simple approach, because we know I'm focused on the skull-based surgery, which is it's very fascinating area because it's quite challenging in the past decades. But with our understanding and skills, I think we can back to not so complicated approach, back to the simple and the safe approach. Okay, so I'm from the Xuanwu Hospital now, and this is a night view about all the institutions in China. It's a landmark from Beijing, the center of the Beijing. And this is in the afternoon, it's very beautiful, the views. And these are group photos. I moved to the Xuanwu Hospital almost 4 years ago. It's in the future will come to the beautiful cities and beautiful the institutions. And now I want to summarize its evolution of skull-based approaches. And initially 100 years ago, more than half centuries, 50 years ago, maybe some of the skull-based tumors is incurable, is in operation because it's quite deep-seated and challenging. But with the challenging, we have the pioneers, like mentioned Yasaki Drake, that we have they have explored and tried to some of the surgical approaches to do this, and with the innovation understanding we have developed many ways from the no treatment to have a simple approach, and we can do a complicated, but it's a traumatic. It seems to be unnecessary now. So it returns to seem to be simplified and minimal invasive way to solve the problem, to remove the tumor, to do the aneurysm clipping, even with endovascular modalities to treat the aneurysms. So in the future, maybe in the future, all these kind of the surgical modalities will vanish, will disappear, just like. So this is a way from the no there to a small and to a many and more, but back to less and even to the future to disappear, just like the Chinese, the philosophy is. It's just like a circle, yeah. So this is but maybe the surgical approach is not so important. The complicated approach is not necessary, but with the simple approach, with the instrumentations, with such like the endoscope or others modalities, even the radiosurgery, we can do much more than before. So this is my experience with my past more than 20 years experience. I have this kind of understanding. And this is now I want to share. I want to mention this is respect to the classic, such as today I want to emphasize the subtemporal approach to a complex such as a combined approach, which is called maybe pre-sigmoid approach. But now I think it returns to the subtemporal approach, epidurally or subdurally. So for this kind of
Sorry, Dr. Tang, your audio is not working. Hello, Dr. Tang. Am I the only
Hello?
one that's not hearing him? Okay, go ahead, Dr. Tang. Can you hear me?
How about now?
We're having trouble with your audio. I don't,
Hello?
can you, yes, can we, go ahead, Dr. Tang?
You can hear me right now?
Yeah, now it's good.
Okay.
Good.
So this is a summary about the approach. There's a combined, the subtemporal is a combined approach, anterior petrosal approach or posterior petrosal approach. There's a lot. And in my personal experience with my unit, with my mentors and our group from the 90s, about almost 30 years ago. Initially, 30 years ago, we used a subtemporal approach, and with the retrosigmoid approach to remove the petroclival meningioma. With our understanding, we used presigmoid approach. That is much more exposure. We can do much more, the removal of the tumors. And we do it much more and more cases with the presigmoid approach. But about 10 years ago, about almost 20 years ago, we have changed. We have not so many cases we use the presigmoid approach. We changed back to the subtemporal approach. With our understanding about removal the petrosal apex, removal the Kawase triangle, we think we change to the much more the simple approach, subtemporal approach. Is no need for the not necessary to do maybe only 5% of this kind of tumor with a presigmoid approach or the combined approach. So we reduce the traumatization to the simple approach. So this is the summary about the times we used from the simple approach, subtemporal approach, to remove the tumor. It's the skin flap, just like the Juha professor showed. It's a big flap, the big bone flap. And also we have to remove a lot of the brain, the temporal lobe to expose the tumor and to remove partial of the tumors. After that, about the 2000 years around, we used the presigmoid approach. We can do much more exposure. At that time, we can do a lot of the tumor resection. We can achieve the total resection, but the traumatization is very big and severe. At that time, I was a young doctor. I was very excited to do. We can do this. We can do the tumor total resection. We didn't, and we think the cost for the patient is deserved. And also, we have developed the two bone flap for the presigmoid approach with this combined supra and infra tentorial approach. We can do very good tumor resection and very good reconstructions, and the patient outcome is good, but that is quite challenging for the surgeon, time consuming. And even for this kind of the tumor, we can do orbital-zygomatic OZ approach, and we can achieve very, very good tumor resection and very good the final result. We can see the very clearly about the anatomic structures, including the vessels and even the nerve
trigeminal nerves. It looks like an art. The patient have some neurological deficit. After that, with our understanding about removal the Kawase triangle, we can have a better exposure. So that means there's no need to drill too much of the bone. And with our understanding, we move the triangle about the surgical field. We think the removal of the apex, petrosal apex, is not necessary even. And this is Professor Kawase, and he visited our institution, and also I learned a lot from him. And from the anterior transpetrosal approach is a very, very good approach, but the epidural approach is a little bit complex. Even it has a very good landmark for the orientation, but it's quite difficult for neurosurgeons. So we changed to the subdural approach, and even after the years, we communicate, exchange our ideas with Professor Kawase. I think he also accepts our understanding. He now in the 2016 in the World Congress of Skull-Based Surgery, the plenary sections, during his lecture, after he mentioned about epidural approach, he mentioned the subdural is also options for the anterior petrosal approach. And also this Professor Drake gave the ideas to Professor Kawase, and just like the Professor Juha mentioned, Drake, I also learned from his papers that's published more than half centuries ago. Even now, today, I think Professor Drake's idea about the subtemporal approach is very, very good. A very good exposure. So because time is limited, I jump to this, because this is a summary about my personally learning for this kind of petrosal approach during the past 30 years. Our group, we used a simple approach to a complex approach. Now it returns to a simple approach. So this because our understanding and our skills improve our capabilities to remove the tumor with less the traumatizations. Now I used two cases for this kind of the giant tumors, the petrocleval meningioma. We can use the subtemporal approach to remove it. And also we can achieve very good the tumor resection, and 1 month later, this lady recovered very well without any deficit. And this is another case, is also a lady from we can see there's a lesion. The tumors with the calcification in the petrocleval regions is quite challenging. And also we used the subtemporal approach to achieve the tumor resection. And this is under microscope, we can cut the tentorium to expose the tumors. And we can see this is trigeminal nerves. We cut open the microcave, and this is the trigeminal nerve beneath the tentorium. And after we remove this, we can expose the microcave. When followed, this is the bleeding from the cavernous sinus. And all this, just like you have mentioned, we have to keep it clean. And we use the coagulation, try our best to stop these venous bleedings and to have to keep our surgical field clean. And this, we track the tumors into the microcave. Now we can see this trochlear nerve above, and the trigeminal is the beneath. And this is attachment of the tumor. We can see also the oculomotor nerve is up to the jugular nerves. And with the debulking and the vascularization, we can very good to control of the tumor. And with this subtemporal approach, we can stop the vascularization firstly. And this is membranes. It was a third ventricles, and this is the tumors. We open the tentorium, we can see to expose the tumor infratentorial, and this is the tumor attached to the third ventricle, and this is basically artery. With the sharp dissections, we can keep the tumors and keep the basal artery intact. And we need, and that is the nerve, the opposite side, the third nerve, oculomotor nerve. And this is the brainstem interface between the tumors and the brainstems with the piecemeal and the suction decompression. And also we open the tentorium laterally to expose the tumor beneath the tentorium. And this is a tumor between the trigeminal nerve. This is underneath the trigeminal nerve. Sometimes we can drill part of the Kawase triangle, but in this case, this is the abducens nerve. Because, you know, we are the bone window a little bit posteriorly, we can see this clavus very clear. There's no need to drill too much of the petroclaval apex. And this is the apex, and this is the pituitary stalk, and that is the third ventricle. So this, with a very simple approach, we can achieve very good the tumor resections and also very good bring the protections, and even this is after. Nowadays, we can use the endoscope to expose the observation of the deep seated. So this is the 1 month after the surgery. The lady recovered very well, but she also suffered a little bit the facial numbness because of the trigeminal nerve, the retraction during the operation. But finally, I think one side, the subtemporal approach is a dead approach, but totally I didn't agree with this. I think there's no outdated neurosurgical approach. We should update with our understanding about the knowledge, our skills, with the evolving never stopped, just like what we achieved in neurosurgery. So in the future, we can do much more the surgeries with less the trauma is minimal invasive. Maybe in the future, our surgery will disappear. Thank you for your attention.
Okay. Okay, Wanli?
I finished.
Yes, sir. Wanli, do you want to take over? Are you there, Wanli?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Thank you, Dr. Tang, for your wonderful lecture. Yeah, I know you did a lot skull-based tumor surgery and got a lot of experience, and I fully agree with your opinion that the skull-based surgery should return to simple and clean. Yeah. Are there any comments from the audience? Let me see.
Go ahead, Victor.
Hello, Professor Tang, Professor Juha, Binchu, and all of you. It's very impressive, your lecture, Dr. Tang. Really great tumors in the petroclaval area. In my experience, when you approach this kind of tumors in the subtemporal way, when you open the dura, you can see variants in the veins, especially the Labé vein. This vein is usually found very near in the junction of lateral sinus with sigmoid sinus, but sometimes we could have several veins. If what we can do when we have not only vein of Labé, but several veins draining blood. So do you eliminate one vein of that or only separate? Because sometimes you cannot have a very good field, very good approach because that veins.
Thank you for your questions. And these are very good questions for the subtemporal approach. The Labé, we know from the temporal lobe, Labé is a surface, the lateral surface is anastomosis, but it's a little bit, it's to the posterior part. Our approach, subtemporal approach, is a little bit is in front of Labé. So it's no need to expose too much. It's too much of the Labé. We use actually this in front of the Labé approach subtemporally. And also there's several approach veins, drainage vein from the temporal lobe to the tentorium. At that time, initially we need to very gently retraction the lift of the temporal lobe and the drainage of the CSF. And sometimes we have to cut the drainage vein from the dura, from the temporal lobe to expose, to extend the veins. We try our best to preserve the vein, but actually in some cases, the vein cannot be preserved very well. We have to sacrifice. Fortunately, and the retraction to the temporal bone, temporal lobe is very gently. It's so I think the hematoma to the temporal lobe is not so common. It's not so common.
Thank you.
I saw another question also talk about do you get any venous infection?
We try our best to preserve the veins. Hello?
Yes. Did you get that one, Lee?
Yeah. Can I speak? Hello?
Yeah, you may have to repeat. One, Lee, are you there? Can you hear one, Lee?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just
something
asked
wrong
about venous infection for your series.
Okay.
I think, can you hear me?
Yes, I believe so.
I think try to, there's no need. One is to try to preserve the veins, and also the bone window is a little bit the anteriorly, not so posteriorly. We cannot damage the Labé, the vein, and it. Okay.
Okay. Any more comments or questions from the
Okay,
audience?
Professor Tang Jie, thank you for your excellent presentation. Do you use some endoscope or exoscope to assist sometimes in the surgery?
Yes, I think endoscope is very good, very good the tools for the skull-based surgeons, and also in this kind of subtemporal approach. And also because the bone will block the surgical view to see some of the tumors under infratentorium, and also it's an attachment to the posterior surface of the petrosal bone. So with the endoscope, we can have a very good way to observe the tumor attachment. But we need also very good the tools to do the manipulation. Sometimes seeing is first, but doing to removing the tumors is next, and another is the coagulation. So endoscope is a very provide our very good way to observe, and also we need to do this. And with the endoscope, is even the drilling off of the bone will decrease, and the trauma will be less. So I think endoscope is just like the microscope is very important one. And we should know all these two kind of the tools. Thank you.
Thank you. I think Professor Juha Hernesniemi's one important philosophy is to preserve the nature anatomy. So I think you also have the same philosophy with him.
Yes. Actually, I learned this from the Professor Juha. It's a simple way to do the aneurysm very fast, very clean. And I think this is a principle every neurosurgeon should follow. And but I have questions for Professor Juha. Is he here? Because he mentioned he used 95% of the brightness of the light. I think it's too bright for me, and it's maybe it's harmful for our eyes. Why is it so bright?
Because I can answer your question, because when you use
Can you hear
very
me?
high zoom,
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, you are. Go ahead.
yeah,
The trick is the mouth switch. Mouth switch. Mouth switch.
Mouse switch.
Yes.
Yes.
You are moving all the. You are moving
listening.
all the time the microscope. You are moving all the time the microscope. If you don't have mouth switch, then you burn the brain, because you focus a long time. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear. But my question is for the brightness is 95% of the light is too bright. For me, I think maybe 50 is enough.
Ya me
No
tomaron
need.
lista ahorita.
Okay, I disagree. We have
Que hable, ya hablé.
I disagree. We have
No, es que van
different.
dándose cuenta si uno está atendiendo, está hueviendo.
Oh, I cannot hear.
My tricks is when you have very high magnification, highest magnification, then you need a light. And when you're operating through a small gap, then you have more light. And if you don't move the microscope all the time, then the microscope is damaging the brain. That's why mouth switch. Mouth switch. I'm moving the microscope all the time. Do you understand the trick?
Yeah, I remember you
If you look long time,
used the mic.
if you look long time with the microscope, so the brain has injury, it is coagulated.
Yeah.
But if you move all the time the microscope, like I'm doing, so then you have no harm. But of course, if you have high level 95, then you burn the brain. You will do manage. But I'm used to use high.
Because
we have different habits.
Professor Juha always use very high magnification. So when you make the high magnification, you need more light.
Okay, because a higher magnification, the bright will drop. So we have to increase Increase.
Yes.
Okay, I got that because I have never used that. So the high magnification as that he
Yes.
mentioned, it's the 13 to 17. So maybe so I didn't need that so bright. Okay, I got that. Thank
Yes.
you, Professor Juha.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Any more comments, questions? Okay, Ben, I guess we can wrap it up and right, Wanley? Okay, if there's
Yes,
no,
I've,
go ahead, Ben. Go ahead.
Yes, we can close today's webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very
Okay.
much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry for
Mhm.
Yeah,
technical
thanks,
difficulties.
Juha, for making the effort to get through that. And thanks, Dr. Chang.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I
everyone.
will learn better.
Thank
I have
you.
to learn better.
Thank you
Okay.
very much,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you to all. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Stop that.